today's podcast episode. What I'm going to actually be talking about is how one of my clients, Cameron, who's a busy business owner, dropped 45 pounds and got a six-pack. I definitely think you guys are going to find this extremely valuable. It's going to really give you like a step-by-step process, an insight process on not only how I just coach my clients to success, but also how you can do it too, right? So that's what I think is super, super important, is that if you're, watching these live streams, if you're watching the podcast or listening to the podcast, the whole point is to give you guys a shit ton of value, right? So to give you guys context, one of my clients, his name is Cameron. He is a busy business owner. He owns his own business. Plus, he does work another part-time job on top of that, right? So this guy is an extremely busy person. And I definitely think a lot of you can relate to that because you might be struggling with these issues as well. Maybe you're someone who has no time, right? Maybe you're someone that is so busy that maybe that time that you want to dedicate to getting in better shape, losing body fat, or even getting healthier, you might not have that cognitive energy function. You might not be able to process enough because you're so exhausted by the end of the day, right? Maybe you're someone who has extremely little confidence, right? Like Cameron, one of his biggest struggles is that he couldn't take his t-shirt off in front of his partner, right? He couldn't take his t-shirt off to look at himself in the mirror because he was so ashamed of his body. Maybe that's you. Maybe you can relate to that. Or maybe you are someone who has a shitty relationship with food, right? You eat that donut or you eat that cheesecake, or maybe you go to a family event or to a work function. And no matter what you eat, you beat yourself up over it. You do cardio at the gym. You binge eat. Like you just beat yourself up for like enjoying the process of food. Well, what I was able to do with Cameron is not only were we able to drop 45 pounds down as a busy business owner, he has full confidence and loves taking his shirt off. He has a six-pack, is not ashamed of himself, especially in the bedroom with his partner. And he has an amazing relationship with food now. He knows how to include his favorite foods like donuts, like ice cream, eating out here and there. He's not restrictive and was able to get 45 pounds down with the six-pack. And I'm going to explain the step-by-step process on how exactly you can do that too. And I'm going to be breaking down from 3 different points. So point number 1 is, I think, the most important point out of the other 2. The other 2 are more technical. It's going to tell you exactly how to get to that goal. But point number 1, I think it's super important, and it's the mindset that you approach your training, the mindset that you have towards your nutrition, and the mindset that you have towards yourself. And I definitely think this is a big mistake a lot of people make, right? When it comes down to losing body fat, and getting in really, really good shape, is that we forget that we have to pour into our internal self as much as our external self. You have to understand the person you are now is going to be completely different when you accomplish your fitness goals. It's going to be very, very different, right? And you have to understand that's going to be a process of change, right? If you want to develop a better relationship with food, if you want to develop a better relationship with your body, it's going to be very, very different, that process, right? You're going to be thinking differently. You're going to be acting differently. In order to get to that goal, we need to start acting like the person who's already dropped that weight. So that's exactly what we did with Cameron. We got into routines. We got into like journaling. We got into meditation because we had to develop that mindset of what that picture is going to look like when you drop the weight, right? When the weight is gone, how are you going to look like? It's that visualization. Because let me ask you guys, how many of you have actually visualized yourself at your goal body weight, at the body that you want, at the confidence that you want? Now, when I ask clients these questions at the very beginning of my coaching program, they all have the same answer. I don't know what that looks like. And that's the problem, is we need to start training that mindset within you so you know exactly what that looks like. It's all about training that subconscious mind so you can be successful. So you can be successful to that goal weight that you want to see, right? But we have to start training that now. So good ways to do that is to create like a vision board, right? Like give it a visual of like what you're aiming for. It doesn't need to be a board with pictures. You can Google dream boards. There's so many ways to do it, but maybe you got that dream t-shirt or dress, hang it up, right? This is what you eventually want to wear, right? I like sticky notes. Like this is the goal that we're trying to aim towards, right? I like putting visual pictures on my phone or my screensaver, like to give that visual example, because you need to visualize yourself winning. If you can't visualize yourself winning, well, it's going to be almost impossible for you to win, right? So you got to start with that visualization, and that is extremely important. Now, the second step, right, after you visualize that, is we need to create your workout program, right? My suggestion for as a busy business owner or a busy professional is you work out 3 days a week, 3, maybe 4 days a week. Now, the reason why I don't suggest more than that is, number one, you might not have the time. Number two, putting more into the gym is not going to equal better results. What is going to equal better results is recovery. What is going to equal better results is building lean muscle tissue. And you have to understand is you got other things to do during the day, right? You got to run, maybe you run a business, maybe you have a busy work life, maybe you're a parent with kids, you got meetings, you're traveling. There's so many different aspects that are going on. You got to remember that if you crush yourself in the gym 5 or 6 days a week, your nervous system might be so burnt out that you might experience brain fog. You might be too tired to do all these different things. Now, can we eventually work out 5 or 6 days a week? Absolutely, but we got to work our way up. So 3 to 4 days a week in the gym is really, really good. You want to focus on strength training. You want to focus on compound lifts. If you're doing 3 days a week, I really suggest full body. If you're doing 4 days a week, I like to do an upper lower split, right? Now, the whole idea is you want to lift weights and you want to get strong, because being strong is going to build muscle. Building muscle is going to be better, healthier for your metabolism. Building muscle is going to burn body fat and keep it off long term, right? There's so many benefits to just building muscle and being strong, right? Because at the end of the day, we just don't want to lose weight, right? You want to build muscle. You want to look good and feel good in your clothes at the same time, right? So now with that being said, right, it's not just about going on a workout plan. It's also about matching your workout plan to your lifestyle, right? You might have meetings. Maybe you're traveling. Maybe you're on vacation that week. Well, how do you adjust the plan to meet your needs, right? So the best way I can put this is we want to apply something called progressive overload. We want to get you stronger, and we want to develop yourself over time, right? So that means some weeks might be a little bit easier than the others. And this is like a big key principle that we apply to my clients. So let's say you got a work trip for a week or a vacation for a week. What we'll do in the weeks leading up, we will peak your body up to burn. That's essentially like burn your system out. Oh, I think my camera dropped here. To burn your system out the week before. So that week that you're gone, all you focus on is just recovering your body. It works very, very, very well. It's what we call a spike week. You can do it as a spike week as well. So you do week 1, it's a little easier. Week 2, you push yourself a little bit more. Week 3, you go all out, you crush your body in the gym. And then week 4, you still work out, just do it a little bit lighter. You give your body to recover, and then you kind of repeat. It's a very simple way to train, and it's a very simple way to build muscle. It's a very simple way to really get results. And it works very, very, very well. So now that we covered the workout portion, right? And the third part is the nutrition portion, right? So the only way to lose body fat is to be in a calorie deficit, right? Now, don't go restrictive, don't go crazy, still eat a good 3 to 4 meals a day. But like the reality is, as a busy person, you need to be able to track your macros, right? Now, the reason why you need to learn about macronutrients and flexible dieting is because you might have meetings. You might have other things going on in the week. You can imagine Cameron being a busy business owner. He has meetings with like real estate agents. He has meetings with other clients, other people. He'll take them out to lunches and stuff. If he followed a strict meal plan or followed a restricted diet, he wouldn't be able to do those things. So for you, you need to do the same thing. It's what I call an 80-20 rule. 80% extremely healthy, 20% you want that flexibility with it, right? But you don't want to like overly restrict yourself when it comes to getting results, right? You want that flexibility because it's going to give you that long-term aspect when it comes down to it. Does that make sense? Right? So a calorie deficit, you want to learn how to track your macros, right? So now the best way I can do this is like, you need to increase your protein intake, right? Because protein has a thermal burning effect. The more protein you burn, the more calories you're actually going to burn throughout the day. It's going to keep you full, right? So my general consensus for a lot of people starting out is have a palm size of protein at least 3 to 4 times a day per every single meal, right? That's a very, very good place to start. And adding more protein in is going to indirectly put you within a calorie deficit, which is the cool part about it, right? So when you're starting off on your nutrition journey, this is the way I usually suggest it. For the first 2 to 4 weeks, just a palm size of protein, right? 3 to 4 times a day with your meals. After that, let's start teaching about how much protein you need to consume per day plus calories. Now, how much protein should you eat a day? Well, 0.8 grams times your body weight is going to equal the protein intake that you should take per day. So let's say you weigh 200 pounds. Your goal is to get to 150 pounds. I will multiply that by 0.8 grams. That's going to equal 120 grams of protein, right? That's a very, very good place to start for a lot of people. 0.8. Sometimes you can go higher. Sometimes, maybe you go a little bit lower. But that's like a very good basic range for you to start off with. Then on month 3 and month 4, then we start introducing the full macros of protein, carbs, and fats, right? This is something that you have to learn. Now, a lot of people I talk to are like, I don't want to do this. It's too tedious, right? Or I want to do this. The truth is you got to understand that in order to get particular results, you're going to have to work particularly when it comes down to your nutrition and fitness. You're going to have to do it, right? It's not one of those things that you just can skip out on, right? It's like sleeping. Do you want to sleep or not? Well, you got to count your macros, right? If you want to get excellent results, you're going to have to do this. Right now, are there other ways that you cannot measure macros? Well, the thing is, I really suggest to people to start off with macro counting because it's going to teach you about food, right? The more we can teach you and educate you about food, the better we can actually build long-term sustainable habits for you long-term. But without that balance of understanding about macronutrients in food and actually what's in the food and how to plan it throughout the day, you're not going to have that foundation, because you have to understand, if you had that foundation, you wouldn't be fat, right? That's the best way I can put it. You wouldn't be overweight. You have already gotten towards your goal weight, but you need to understand macros. You need to understand what you're actually putting into your body before we can explore other realms. Like a lot of my clients, what we do is we eventually pull them off macros and teach them how to be more balanced throughout the day. But in order to get there, you got to start with that, right? Now, as you're in your deficit, the weight is slowly going to creep down, and eventually that weight is going to plateau. And if the weight plateaus, you increase that deficit. You only do it by a little bit at a time, right? You don't need a massive deficit. I really suggest maybe 500 to 650 calories per time. And then you can sprinkle in daily steps. You can sprinkle in cardio where you need, right? But what you want to do is you want to start here, and then you slowly want to work your way up if you plateau. Now, the good thing about Cameron, who's dropped 45 pounds, we kept him on the same cardio regimen and steps and calorie intake for probably the first 16 weeks of his program. 16 weeks every single time. And then he plateaued, and then we had to change it, right? So a lot of it's going to be based on consistency. A lot of it's going to be based on just showing up. And at the end of the day, make it easier on yourself, right? Invest into these things that are going to make your life easier to get you that result. Go, do a meal prep company to help prep your foods if you're too busy. Hire a coach, hire me if you want, right? We can talk about it and help you get towards your results. The goal here is not to think as much and apply yourself to get those results. But that's what we did with Cameron, right? The process itself is very, very simple, but the execution is what makes it difficult, right? But if you apply that, if you listen to exactly what I say on here, it can really just get you incredible and awesome results. Now, I do have a free resource for you guys. I did create a free step-by-step system that you guys can use as well. So if you find me on Instagram at AlexSundarFit and DM me about it, I'll be able to send you that ebook, and that way you can use it for free to help you on your progress as well. Hope you guys found this video valuable, and hope you guys found this podcast valuable. And yeah, we'll chat with you very soon.